I just don't understand. Like, we refuse to make adjustments, and we continue to make the same mistakes that we've been making for the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Cowboy Nation, what is happening? Live and in living color, we bring to you the Noise of the Boys podcast, a Dallas Cowboys homer exclusive from our studio at HQ1. I'm your co-host, color commentator, Matt Longoria, and with me, as always, my right-hand dude sitting to my left, Uncle C-Tom.
What's up, everybody? Matt and I are just two true blue over-the-top diehard fanatics that come together to help you celebrate those wins, but still find those silver and blue linings in the losses, which is what we're going to need today. We're here to make some noise about the boys. How we feeling today, Matt Long?
Everybody should be feeling exactly how we're feeling right now, and you should be absolutely pissed off, but more so than that, you should be absolutely worried. You should be absolutely worried, and if you don't want to hear that right now, click away from the video, because this is going to be an absolute fest on the Dallas Cowboys, who the bed yet again against another team above 500. What do you got?
I mean, I know everybody's going to say that Arizona's on a 3-game losing streak and whatever. Like we discussed on the pregame, every team goes through ups and downs, and this is absolutely a good team. So we wanted the Cowboys to win this one so badly. I mean, at least I did. I did not want to see another piss poor performance, and that's exactly what we got. Nobody was on point. Our coaching staff, the officiating was terrible. The players were not executing. I was just, the entire game didn't seem like we could get anything going for us. And even though we were down only one possession in the fourth quarter, it just felt like we were down multiple possessions. Very, very disappointing outing. And it's incredibly frustrating considering you're on a 4-game winning streak. You're at home against a good team, and you're talking all this noise before the game saying this is about to be a statement. Now we just look like a bunch of clowns, and I'm just so pissed off. It's disappointing. It's frustrating, and I'm worried. I'm worried for the postseason, because you know what? I was okay with us like skidding by the bad teams, because you know what? You went on the road, you took care of business, and then we absolutely demolished Washington. That was decimated. This is not how I wanted to see this game turn out.
You know, and the Cowboys just do a good job of shooting themselves in the foot. It seemed like every big play, there was a yellow flag on the ground. We got 10 penalties at the end of the game for 88 yards. You can absolutely not afford to do this in the postseason. It's just not acceptable. Dak Prescott, if you're tired of being told that you're in a slump and you're tired of being criticized for that, then hit your damn receivers when they're wide the f*** open.
Straight up. I mean, how many times did he underthrow somebody, overthrow him? I mean, he's stepping into the pocket, driving the ball, and it's 15 feet over Amari Cooper's head, and he's standing there wide open. It's like, come on, man. He's right there. Like, that's a high school football player could make that throw. I don't know what's going on with the guy. We're Dak's biggest supporters, but I'm so sick of the inconsistency from this offense. Where is the offense that we saw the first half of the season? It's gone.
There's so much that we can gripe about, from the coaching, the officiating. Damn, Greg Zuerlein can't hit a field goal. And it always comes back to that. Greg Zuerlein, what the hell are you doing? You've got one job. Put it between the uprights. If you do that, it's a tie game. Arizona's forced to try and go ahead. But look at the position we are in at the end of the game. And then not only that, the officiating. What was up with the timeouts at the end of the game? Do we not know how to properly manage our time?
Apparently not. And you know, I've kind of been like just trying to look past all of the criticisms as far as, you know, everybody trash at Mike McCarthy. But this game, I think it's warranted, man. Like, everything that everybody was worried about and concerned about as far as Mike McCarthy went, the way that we just looked so unprepared. The whole wasting a timeout when they brought both the kicker and Kyler Murray out onto the field, we were just lost. Had no idea what to do. And he was going to take a delayed game. That's what's infuriating. So we just wasted that timeout, just completely gone. And then I usually, I try to look at things from a different perspective and see where McCarthy's coming from. He's calling these timeouts before they even run a play on first down. So it didn't really feel like we were using them properly or something. I'm at a loss.
I simply don't understand. I don't understand. And especially when it comes down, there's so many what ifs, and I hate to hone in on the what ifs because there's many reasons the Cowboys lost. And for me, the main reason is execution. But what if you don't abuse your timeouts and you have one to spare at the end of the game when there was a clear fumble called down on the field that you could challenge?
Exactly.
Would have changed the whole momentum of the game. At this point, you would have set us up to go for a victory.
Exactly. And that's why it's so frustrating. The fact that timeout on the 2-point conversion or extra point, they were literally, we got outcoached. We straight up got outcoached. They weren't going to do anything. What are they going to do? You're going to throw it to the kicker? I mean, it was just a waste of a timeout. And at the end of the game, it mattered. And that's the main thing is we were not prepared. We got outcoached. We didn't execute on almost any sort of level. I mean, listen to these stats, bro. We had less drives. We had nearly 100 yards less than them. We ran nearly 20 plays less than them. 3 for 11 on third down. Now, we were 3 for 3 on fourth down, which kind of bails you out of that.
They dominated the time of possession by 10 minutes. They
definitely dominated us in time of possession. 34 minutes to 25. Like you said, 10 penalties for 88 yards. I mean, we did okay in the red zone, but we just weren't down there enough. We were 2 for 2. And the thing that drives me absolutely insane is this statistic right here. We had 17 carries for 45 yards. We didn't even carry the ball 20 times, and Dak Prescott was our leading rusher. That is absolutely unacceptable on all levels. We cannot have that. We were talking about this in our post game a few weeks back. You can win with good defense and running the ball with efficiency. Where did that go? Completely gone today.
Kellen Moore, what the hell, man? Look, for those of you that have this speculation that Kellen Moore is calling these vanilla plays and opening the playbook for the postseason, I sure as hell hope you're right about that. For all you beat writers that feel inclined to talk about this so often, I certainly hope you're correct, because what the hell is all of this? This is an important seeding game, and if we don't take care of business, all the other games don't even matter. So at this point, we've just accepted our fate and putting us in the 4th seed. And we'll likely draw the best of the wild card teams. Yep.
Green Bay is locked into the 1st seed with our loss, I believe. So tonight's game doesn't even matter. And we dropped down to 4th. We have the same record as Arizona now. If the playoffs started today, we would do exactly what we did today, and that's play Arizona in Dallas. And if we were to do it all over again, would it look the same way? I don't know. But it sure does make me nervous, the fact that we're going to have to likely end up doing that all over again. It's not exciting. It's
being in the 4th seed is basically, for those of you that don't know, it's like you're putting yourself in the hardest possible path to get to the Super Bowl. And this was just an extremely frustrating game to watch. It was reminiscent of the Denver game where you just couldn't get going offensively. And
then it's like they start. Here's what I don't understand. So let's get into the winners and losers. I don't even want to talk about my winners right now. I want to start with the losers. I have Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy as a loser for today. I didn't understand. We already discussed the timeout situation. Kellen Moore, I don't understand what he's doing. What is with the screens, bro? What is with the screens?
They were all over the screens.
And we keep calling it.
From the very first screen throw. It was damn near a pick 6, and we're lucky that it wasn't. What exactly?
Every single wide receiver screen was knocked down.
Every guy that's scouting you as a head coach candidate, I hope they take a good long look at this game and reconsider, because this is bull.
We didn't make any adjustments. It just seemed like we were treading water the entire game and trying to dig our way out of quicksand, and we never made any adjustments. I mean, the defense looked flat almost the whole game, and holding a team to 25 points that's as prolific with a guy like Kyler Murray, you can get a pass considering how well they've played. But I mean, they still were. We got the ball ran down our throats to end the game. It's just embarrassing. Kellen Moore, I don't know what happened there, man. They had how many? I think they had 2 backup corners in there. We didn't press the issue one time. Oh, we did. We did one time, and it was a touchdown to Michael Gallup. Why didn't we continue to try to push the ball down the field? We're just throwing 5-yard dumps.
It seemed that only when it like really mattered, the game's on the line, every drive counts at this point, that they try to open up the playbook, so to speak. It's really embarrassing to have come on here with such confidence, and then that entire team be pressed with so much confidence throughout the week going into this game, with all the critics saying we can't beat a quality team, and then to just come in and shit the bed at home.
So we already talked about this in the pregame. We know they're going to move the goalposts. Everybody was like, "Oh, you should beat Arizona." They're on a 3-game losing streak. They got blown out by the Lions. Who cares? Like, it's nothing impressive if you beat them. But now we're going to get clowned. So Cowboys Nation, just ignore everybody. We know it's coming. We already knew what they were doing, so just ignore it. But getting back to the losers, Kellen Moore, I don't understand why Amari Cooper only has 3 receptions for 18 yards against backup corners. I just can't. Nobody can touch him. You saw it on the touchdown pass. Absolutely left his man in the dirt. Why are we not trying to get him the ball more? Why does Amari Cooper have the same amount of targets as Tony Pollard? Like, what are we doing? I don't understand that at all.
At a certain point in the game, I just sat back and was like, this is just one of those games, man. Dak Prescott, when he had an open man, was just getting his shit batted down. If he did get it to his guys, especially on those dump offs to Pollard and Zeke, they were hitting him in the chest and dropping him. I mean, we could not get anything going. And then, of course, the ill-timed fumble in the fourth quarter when you think that they're going to go down and try and tie it up. Of course.
Dak Prescott with the fumble, another turnover late in the fourth quarter.
And having been dominated in the time of possession, I'm not going to give the defense any sort of crap, because, I mean, they made key stops and important stops. Look at the
even when they did make those stops, they were getting bailed. The other team, the Cardinals, were getting bailed out by a flag.
Right.
It just felt like Thanksgiving all over again.
It did, but this one seemed like we had more control over. We had more of a way to win in this one, and we just let it slip through the cracks. And I'm not going to defend the Cowboys because they just did not execute.
That's why it's so frustrating, because it's not like you can just point to one thing. Everybody was bad, literally everybody. And I've got Dak on here as one of my losers as well, man. That fumble, you cannot have that, man. How many games have we seen in like the last 6 weeks where he's turning the ball over in mid to late fourth quarter? If you do, you can't do that. We will be one and done in the playoffs if we do that. If we get ran all over and Dak's turning the ball over in the fourth quarter, we will be one and done, Cowboys Nation.
Maybe we can move into a silver and blue lining, okay? Silver and blue lining, we're in the playoffs. This could be a learning experience, potentially, depending on who you ask and who's watching the game. But going into the playoffs, be worried. Be at the edge of your seat before kickoff, because we don't know what team we're going to get going into this. Yeah, we have the home playoff game, but if we draw Arizona's 8-1 in away games. So I have nothing more to say than you should just be very worried. And yeah, I mean, anybody can be a Cowboys apologist and say, oh, yeah, well, they just had a bad game. We cannot afford to have another bad game. Because at this point, we're going to pull. I mean, I'm assuming we're going to pull the starters in
probably
week 18. So next week's game pretty much doesn't matter. It might matter for seeding, maybe.
I don't think it does at this point. I mean, we would need help, and we would have to win. I think that the Cowboys should just accept their fate and take the home playoff game.
So,
I mean, we went undefeated in December, and that's why this is so frustrating. It's, maybe if it had looked a little bit prettier, then we're not sitting here so upset. But, I mean, this is a good football team. This is one that we've had circled on our calendars since week 1. And the 3 games that come to mind this season are Tampa Bay, as far as like the good teams we play this season, Tampa Bay, New England, Kansas City, and Arizona. So those are the 4 like really good teams that we've played this year, and we're 1-3 in those games. And so I usually kind of brush off that whole like narrative that people want to push as far as like, oh, we beat up on the bad teams and we lose to the really good teams. I mean, it's hard to disagree with that at this point. And I was hoping so much for us to get this to take that doubt completely out of my mind.
Right. And more so than that, I was looking for not just a convincing win, but like a dominant win. I really believe that we have the tools and the weapons to do so, but I don't believe in this coaching staff. I don't believe in the play calling specifically right now. And I am not sure.
Even during the 4-game winning streak, it was suspect.
I am not sure if the Cowboys can get it done. For me specifically, I am so tired of saying that this team looks like the best in the league, because right now, it definitely doesn't look like it.
Yeah, I think that huge win over Washington may have had our spirits up higher and a little bit of a cloud of reality likely. That's probably what was happening. I mean, because even during that 4-game winning streak, Kellen Moore was not great. The offense was not great. The offensive line was playing poor. Dak was playing poor. And then we were hitting on all cylinders during Washington. We're like, okay, great. A step in the correct direction. Here we go. And then they come out and they put up 7 points through 3 quarters of this game, man, against a defense that is beat up and is not very good against the run. And they just dominated us on all levels.
You just can't help but sit back and laugh and shake your head, like, of course, like it's the end of the season. It's time for the Cowboys to do what they do. And I'm just looking for a different end of the story at this point. And it's just so frustrating to relive the same crap year after year if we even make the playoffs. And Cowboys Nation, you should not be okay with one and done anymore. Like, we're above that.
It's getting old.
In fact, you should not be okay with one playoff win anymore. With the amount of weapons on this team, the amount of talent among our coaching staff, supposedly, we should not be losing these key games.
And, the reason that this game makes me a little bit nervous is because, you saw through that 4-game winning streak, we didn't really play a whole lot of great quarterbacks. And then our defense was balling out, on those bad offenses. And then they come out against a good offense and a extremely athletic, agile, very good thrower of the football, and Kyler Murray. And we can't get a single takeaway. Technically we probably should have had one. That's why I've got officiating as a loser on my list. But it makes you kind of wonder, because it's like, well, we looked so good against all those bad quarterbacks, and then it's time for them to step up. And 400 yards of offense, 25 total points. Their conversion rate was pretty good, I believe. What were they on third down? They were 7 for 16. It felt like we couldn't really get off the field when we were supposed to. And obviously that drive at the end of the game could not have more than 1 first down, and they gave up 3, and they ran it down our throats. And so that makes me nervous for the playoffs.
And again, I am pissed off at Kellen Moore. 39 passes to 17 runs. 17, you just completely abandoned the run game.
It's just completely gone. I didn't understand it at all.
Look, Tony Pollard, 3 carries for 9 yards. Zeke, 9 for 16. Dak, 5 for 20.
You couldn't even get the ball, Zeke. 10. You couldn't even give him 10 carries.
My God. And then I don't know. At this point, we're just kind of like shooting from the hip. At this point, we haven't really done a whole lot of research into this game. I don't know how many runs Zeke got on the outside. I'm pretty sure they were all up the middle. I'm pretty damn sure. But
when he was on the outside, you saw him have some success. And in the officiating of this game, I just felt like it was so like, I just don't understand. When are we going to start making changes to the officiating? Like, you saw Zeke with a huge run. It seemed like every time that we had a big third down conversion or a big run play, holding. Nope, that's a hold. It's like, you got to keep that same energy for both teams because we're seeing Micah, we're seeing DeMarcus Lawrence, we're seeing Randy Gregory, all these guys. The exact same thing is happening on the other side of the ball, and we're not getting the calls. So if you're going to call it ticky-tack, then call it ticky-tack for both sides because it's impossible to gain any sort of confidence or momentum or correct your mistakes when you're calling it like not set in stone. It's so up in the air. There's no way for a team to adjust, and we've gone over all the reasons why we think the Cowboys lost, but the officiating did not help at all. And I don't understand the end of the game. Clearly a fumble, and the entire sideline is yelling in this referee's ears. It's a fumble. You need to look at it. And they just let the clock run. They're not even going to... Biggest play of the game. Not even going to take a look. It would have been Dallas's ball with 2 minutes remaining. Needing 3 points.
Yep. And who knows how that turns out, but regardless, how do you... Come on. Literally the entire sideline is pointing the other direction and saying, that was a fumble.
It was a clear recovery. He was still in bounds.
How do you let that go? I don't understand that. And if you're going to be like, well, you didn't have any challenges. Had you made better coaching decisions? Sure.
That's totally fair.
But what the hell? I mean, if you're one person and you're saying it's down and you're like, okay, yeah, I saw it was down. But 20 other people are in your ear like, no, that was a fumble. You don't think maybe, you know what, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should really look at this because I don't want to be the reason that people say that this game ended the way that it did.
And they just let it play out. They said, screw it. It is what it is. You don't have any timeouts. That's the thing that drives me crazy. Why do we have coaches challenges? Why do we have all these challenges so that our team can risk timeouts to make up for the mistakes of the officiating? Isn't that the point? Isn't that the point of the New York review system? And you're not even going to use it.
And another thing that pisses me off about that is because there's no continuity throughout it. There's no rule set in stone that says you need to review it if under this circumstance. So if it was the same circumstance, but maybe it was the Buccaneers sideline that was yelling, or it was the Green Bay sideline that was yelling, that was a fumble. You can't help but wonder with Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady yelling at me, should I really take a look at it?
It seems like every time they're gonna get that replay or they're gonna get that call, they're gonna get that timeout.
So how is that fair? You can't explain. There's no way you can justify the fairness of that to me. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna
in particular.
I'm not gonna pinpoint that as the reason why we lost, but it's a huge call, a huge one.
Exactly. So you got to get it right. When it comes down to it, if you've been terrible the entire game, just be crisp in the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter, because that's when it's crunch time. And I just don't understand. Everybody's just supposed to just move on about it, like, oh well, it's just another day at the office, and everybody's sick of it. Every team in the league has had some sort of loss or has had some sort of game where they were furious because of terrible officiating, and the NFL just does nothing about it. We're just supposed to keep carrying on. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke.
Yeah, at this point, I'm over it. I mean, you can't do anything as a fan. You can as much as you'd like about how the game played out.
But they don't care.
No.
They want us to complain because that just draws more attention to them. So,
and I can already see Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp with those smirks on their face, and everybody loves to hate on the Cowboys, and it's really just funny to watch. And at this point, you're just helpless as a fan. So, you know what, Cowboys Nation, take Monday off to get over this one. Because this is a really crappy way to ring in the new year if you're a Dallas Cowboys fan.
And the silver and blue lining would be if Green Bay loses tonight, you start to feel a little bit better. Like, okay, I feel a little bit better because...
And it certainly doesn't help that Tampa Bay and L.A.,
they both escaped, and the thing that's so frustrating about that is I don't care how you win this game, the Cowboys just needed to win because, I mean, this loss just changed everything, and that's really more than anything, that's what I'm most upset about is the seeding implications. Like, we just completely forfeited the 1 seed, guys. Like, it's gone, and that's incredibly frustrating.
I said it all week. Cowboys need to take care of business before they need to worry about any other teams getting wins or losses. They just simply did not take care of business tonight. Very, very frustrating.
Very frustrating. I'm wondering when the Cowboys are going to stop relying on their tight ends to make key blocks against players like Chandler Jones. Like, why? If you have literally anybody out there besides Dalton Schultz making that block on Chandler Jones, Zeke probably takes it for 20, 30 yards. It is things like that, just straight execution. But on the same hand, we know that our player is not going to execute. That is not, the coaches aren't setting him up for success. Why are you putting him out there on an island with Chandler Jones? Like, he's not a blocking tight end. I just don't understand. Like, we refuse to make adjustments, and we continue to make the same mistakes that we've been making for the last 4 or 5 weeks.
Dallas looking like a completely different team that destroyed Washington last week. You thought that they would take that win with them into this week, and
I mean, the D line, man, where were they? I mean, they made a few plays here and there, but it seemed like what we were talking about in the pregame. You got to try and collapse the pocket. You got to get some pressure up the middle. No pressure anywhere. Absolutely none. He had all day, and I think he had
that's
one or
what's
two.
So concerning to me.
Exactly.
Going into the postseason, if we can't handle a scrambling quarterback, we're screwed.
Because Matthew Stafford, he's a pass first, but he can run. Aaron Rodgers, we've seen what he can do. He can run. I don't care if he's got a bum toe.
It's almost like they were scared to over pursue. Like they didn't want to go too much and then have Kyler make a move on him and then bust a big one.
Yeah, and I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth here, because in the pregame I was saying, well, that's what you kind of have to do because he'll make you miss. So it's like it's a double-edged sword, but I'm just surprised that they didn't come up with a better game plan. Like, the same defense that just absolutely shut everybody down for the last 4 weeks, they were non-existent. They were a non-factor today. The secondary wasn't there either. I mean, no D-Hop. No D-Hop, and we're getting torched in the air. Like, I'm lost. I'm searching for answers.
Yeah, I don't really have an answer for this one. I say use it as a learning experience. Definitely watch that film because you very well may draw Arizona in the first round.
Yeah,
that's all I got for today.
It's gonna be tough, man. That's for sure. In the first round, it's looking like Cowboys Nation. If you watched our video a couple of weeks ago about playoff seeding implications and where we could actually fall, we were saying in most situations we were gonna need to win out, and if we didn't, then we would end up in the 4 seed.
Here we are.
And so here we are. You're right. I mean, the fact it's so infuriating with the Rams and Tampa Bay both getting a win today, escaping bad teams. It makes it hurt that much more. Salt in the wound. So Cowboys Nation, we do want to end this on somewhat of a lighter note. If you've stuck around this far, we appreciate you hearing our frustrations and our concerns. Feel free to let us know if you think we're overreacting. We are doing this immediately in our post game. We're doing this post game immediately after the game. I'm sorry. But we do want to end it on somewhat of a lighter note. We discussed our losers in Dak, Kellen Moore / Mike McCarthy, NFL officiating, and Greg Zuerlein are the losers for this game. If you want to add more, I will not argue with you.
Greg Zuerlein.
I mean, seriously, dude. Oh my God, he is literally Brett Maher, and we just trot him out there every single weekend.
Think about the games this season where he's missed, if not one, but multiple field goals, and you're like, man, if he just made that, we'd be in this.
Literally every game except for the Broncos. Every game we've lost except for the Broncos game.
Quite literally.
He's leaving points on the board that cost us, man, and we can't have that. We cannot leave points on the board, especially when you're playing teams like Green Bay and Tampa Bay, and I just feel so stupid for going off about how I think that this team is much better than the Packers and Tampa Bay, and I was going off about that in our pregame, and then they come out there and they lay an egg, and it's frustrating. But let's move into the lighthearted segment. For the winners, I got Leighton Vander Esch. Dude was flying around the ball.
10 total tackles.
Yeah, 10 tackles, 8 of them solo tackles. He was definitely flying around and making solid plays out there. So shout out to LVE with a solid game. Cowboys Nation, if you're going to crucify this man when he's playing terribly, then you need to recognize when he has a good game. So LVE, shout out to you, my man.
J-Ron, aside from
The drop pick, that could have changed the game as well. If J-Ron comes up with that interception, that takes 3 points off of the board, give the ball back to Dallas. And then Greg Zuerlein, maybe he's not a loser because that 3 is negated with that interception. Right. So there you go. Winner, Cedric Wilson. It's obviously devastating. We're going to have to see what the report is on Michael Gallup. It's not looking good, though, the way that how long he took, the fact that he was out for the rest of the game. When you see those non-contact injuries like that, normally it means some sort of ACL, MCL. Let's pray that is not the case, but that's probably what it's looking like. But shout out to Cedric Wilson for coming into the game and stepping up big time. Made a few plays. The pass to Tony Pollard comes to mind. He had a few solid catches over the middle to move the chains for us.
He caught the 2-point conversion as well.
Yeah, he did. That's a big play as well. So shout out to Seti coming in there, stepping up. He's had a remarkable season, man. Like he really has for a number 4 receiver and stepping into the 3, sometimes the 2. I think that he's done really well. So shout out to Cedric Wilson coming out there and making plays to help keep this team in the ball game.
Cowboy Nation, if you've made it this far, we want to thank you for your time and attention and hope you've learned something of value here in the last half hour. Smash that thumbs up button, comment below, activate that bell button so that you can be the first to know when a new episode of Noise the Boys is dropped. With that, we're out of here. Matt Longoria, Uncle C Tom, we'll see you guys for the pregame report.
Peace out, Cowboys Nation.